Hello, everyone. Danny here today to talk to you about the book The Monkey's Raincoat by Robert Crais. Robert Crais is a well-known author. He writes detective novels centered around Hollywood. The majority of his detective novels, not all of them, but the majority of them involve two characters, Elvis Cole and Joe Pike. And what I find most interesting is the books are like The Monkey's Raincoat, a Joe Pike novel number 1, or Joe Pike novel number 22, whatever it is. This is Joe Pike novel number 1. But yet, Joe Pike is almost a B player in it. Now, he is my favorite character. He's a former Marine, and Elvis Cole is a former soldier. They both met after Vietnam, and even though in a lot of ways they're polar opposites, in a lot of ways they're the same. And so they form a friendship. And they're polar opposites because Elvis Cole is this comedic, wisecracking detective. He's got a Pinocchio clock. He's where the eyes go back and forth, and he's constantly wisecracking and making jokes. He seems at times almost, but not quite, juvenile, but he's not. He's not remotely close to juvenile at all. Joe Pike is the opposite end of the spectrum. He almost never talks. He never smiles or laughs. He's the complete warrior type, where Elvis Cole is the wisecracking. You would actually expect him to be almost more of the sidekick, warrior. Joe Pike is the serious, warrior type. But they formed a friendship because their moral values are the same, because they both believe in doing the right thing no matter what the consequences are. And I think the reason they're called like a Joe Pike novel number 1, Joe Pike novel number 4, is because most people like me, Joe Pike is their favorite character in the book. The book involves Elvis Cole a lot more than involves Joe Pike. I haven't read all of the Joe Pike novels or listened to all of them, but every one that I have listened to center themselves on Elvis Cole, with Joe Pike coming in intermittently, sometimes a little bit more than intermittently, but Joe Pike has never been the center of any of the novels that I've read. In this one here, Elvis Cole gets hired to find a husband who has disappeared with the lady's son, and it goes all sideways, gets involved with some stolen drugs. At the end of it, you have some really nicely done battle scenes where, they've got to go in and rescue people and kill people. They've got to buck the FBI and the police department to do the right thing, which is where Joe Pike and Elvis Cole, that's part of who they are. It doesn't matter if to do the right thing. We've got to go against the FBI. They're going to do the right thing for the people involved, because they both, even Joe Pike with his stoic, very serious demeanor, they both care very much about other people. They're very caring guys. And Elvis Cole does, in this book, does end up having sex with the two main women involved in the book. It's never graphic or anything remotely close to that. But I do want to let you know, if you've not listened to a Robert Crais book before, that's not normal. Elvis Cole is the type of guy who's always flirting with women, and he takes care of himself, and he's good looking enough that women regularly flirt back. Sometimes that leads to something, sometimes that doesn't lead to something. In this book, he happens to sleep with both women, But that's not normal. So when you're listening to it, don't go, oh, well, this is another one of those books where one of the characters is just a playboy who sleeps with every woman he meets. It's not that way at all. This is the first book I can remember listening to where he sleeps with all of the main women in the book. And other ones he sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. So it's not a mainstay of the book. He's not a playboy kind of a guy, even though he's constantly flirting with women. He has morals and he has boundaries. So he doesn't just sleep with women to sleep with them. And you can tell that when he sleeps with the first woman in the book, he's expecting it to lead somewhere, and it doesn't. And then things move on from there. It's not my favorite of Robert Crais's books, but once again, he's another author to where that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the book. That doesn't mean that I'm going to return it, that I'm very happy that I spent a credit on this book. It's a very good book. It's just not my absolute favorite of his books. So if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please send them in my direction. If you like my channel, please subscribe. And once you've subscribed, you can turn on notifications. I put out 2 videos a week. One video is on a book like The Monkey's Raincoat that I listen to just for the pure fun of it. And then one video will be on a book that I have listened to in an effort to learn something. It may be, a book on leadership. It may be a memoir. It may be, just some subject that interested me, physical fitness, whatever, kind of a book that I wanted to learn something on. So if you turn on the notifications, you'll get notified when I release a new video. But most importantly, make sure that today you have at least one good book in your day, and you either read or, in my preference, listen to it. Thank you.